So I'm going to move this so you guys can see. So Continuum, especially the Quandex dashboards, we are here for the next gen analytics, understanding how the next iteration of the new economy is going to work when we're activating the bottom billion, and we have all these data partnerships that allow us to bubble this up to really understand the global mass adoption roadmap and what needs to be unlocked in order for people's lives to really change. So we are here for insights and indicators for the crypto market tied to traditional capital markets and how the global economic engine moves. You guys are going to see some things that most people are not going to see, so bear with me here. I think all of this is over here. So basically our premise is, if data is the new oil, you need a drill, you need a toolbox, you need to know what these tools are. We need to break them down for you and make them really easy and beautiful and just easy to digest. So a lot of this comes down to the trading insights world that Mariana was discussing earlier, and being able to break that down into what does that mean to me as an average consumer? What is even applicable to me? So we'll go a little faster here because we need to kind of get deeper into the analytics here. But the baseline here is we understand everything from the startup ecosystem, the sentiment ecosystem of adoption and partnerships, the flags that happen when they're doing product announcements and they go to these events and they actually do a release. We understand what that means in the market and the secondary behaviors of it. So we're taking all of those insights and basically making it easy for you guys to see what we see. So our market offerings, here the pictures are coming. The first one is the data dashboards. The second part is the professional services. There's a ton there. Give me a call. We'll talk about it. And the third part is actually with our business partnership, Do Real Good, who's actually here today, Mr. Jeremy Foreman, who, by the way, is going to be running the Techstars LA Startup Week in April. And I think we talked to Brian about that. So Mariana, we should probably talk about that too. But all of these events, so Continuum is weekly, monthly, quarterly events that we do just to feature all these brands and introduce everyone and create this persistent connectivity. We actually have a 24/7 virtual reality ecosystem that I don't even have in this deck. So if you guys are interested in all of this and you guys want to meet these amazing brands and understand how they're already changing your life and you just don't know it, you guys can come to a safe place in Continuum Market and learn all about them. So back to the data dashboards. So you can't, maybe, I don't know if you can see all of this, but basically on the left here is the traditional capital markets. It's all of the insights that you need for what's called a quant shop. They need very granular data. They need all-time highs. They need stock to flow ratios. They need RSIs and DMAs. They need all of these things. So we needed to take all of that stuff that a quant needs, plus what's actually happening in the crypto world. And as Morgan talked about, there's the ones that have tried and true, have been around. There's things that are built on top of it. They have different data tags amongst themselves. It is not apples to apples. And when you look at the top 10, we know that there are a multitude of types of coins in there, including stable coins, which behave differently, which we need to explain in dashboards. So you can see where we're going here. So I have to keep going because there's even more. This is a bit of the insights. This is our correlation. So it's the cryptocurrencies. We're looking at about 50 of them with the deep insights. The traditional capital markets globally, the precious metals and the non-edible commodities like energy, and then the edible commodities as this moves around the world. All of this turns into correlations that we can see for buy, sell, long, short, sentiment waves, and basically a ton of indicators. We'll help explain all of that in the dashboards, but this is kind of the premise of it. It's kind of a cyclone tornado, but it's a lot of fun if you like data. So basically our vision is the indexes of the new economy will be driven by a different set of data points than has ever been identified before. We're also working very close with blockchain legislation. I think we're up to 10 states at this point, state and federal agencies. Anyone who's looking at blockchain solutions, anyone who's looking for those trusted handshakes, the sign off, the digital identity, the stable coins, whatever these solutions are that make payment gateways more efficient and help save these entities money, we are looking at all of that. A lot of this comes down to clean data and helping teach our brand partners what data is needed by the rest of the industry and basically bridging those gaps. A lot of the fun stuff here on this page is down in the bottom corner for me. The tools that we have are epic. If you guys know anything about data science, we have computer vision, we have 3D, we have 4D, we have amazing things that you can do with clustering and like getting inside the data. I mean, it is tangible to be able to look at this and feel and touch it and go, well, what happens if I do back testing? What happens if I do forward testing? What happens if we do this? What happens if we throw out all of the fintech models that have been taught for the last 50 years and we start to look at how money's really moving around the world? What could happen if we had that kind of data? So that's in our tools section, and we've got fun things like sentiment visualizations and things that the world has never seen before. Really, really excited to show you guys. I'm going too slow. Okay, so more of this is Quandex. Again, this is the layered approach. It's a lot of data. We try to make it easy for you guys, but you can deep dive into this and really understand why and understand the date that it happened and what the ricochet effects were 4 weeks later, because that happens a lot in sentiment, right? So there's a lot of fun things that you can play with. I call it the data playground. There's a bit more here around why now. So you guys have already, probably the folks here are familiar with the conversation that BTC has gone up. It took some massive punches. It is here to stay. It is now accepted in institutions. We saw MicroStrategy and Grayscale buy up more cryptocurrency than was even mined last year. They overbought what was produced. They were like, I will take all of it. That's pretty significant in a sentiment level. Plus you have the who knows anymore economy of the US dollar, where we're just printing things. All of this leads to massive indicators of a recession and depression slide. I know that right now the economy doesn't make sense. I don't know where we go for the next 10 years in order to recover from whatever the hell just happened last year. So we got some work to do. This is a little bit of the layers that we look at for every asset. That's why there's only 50 right now, because for every single one of them, we have to look at the very core of it and the layers that live on top of it. They go all the way from the use case, what is it at its heart, to the adoption. Will people understand it, and does it mean something in their lives? We treat all of these like commodities. Some commodities are like oil, where it has to be mined and it has to be refined and it has these derivative products. Some commodities are like gold, where it's worth gold if it's just a chunk or if it's in your ring. There's a different level of how these commodities work. And Morgan Steckler can certainly break down all the data points. He and I have been talking for about 2 or 3 years now. So I can figure out how all of this works and moves through the intelligence engine. So keep in mind that I try to aggregate the best minds in blockchain, and most of them are data partners now. A lot of our partners that we have yeses from are the coins themselves. They want to explain their brands. They want to explain what DeFi is. They want Hester Pierce to understand what DeFi is. They want these things to be exposed and be transparent. And that's a big part of the Continuum transparency marketplace. So moving forward, there's a lot to quantify here. Our roadmap is basically insights, event triggers. Yes, we have a trading strategy. Yes, it was wildly successful. I don't know how I open it up to the 99% yet, but Morgan's helping me with that too. And other data partners are helping me figure that out. And then of course, there's going to be exchange integration. We see most of our partnerships starting with some pretty key big name partnerships that have already kind of given the nod. I can't announce them yet, but they will be coming in our press release funnel very soon. So we're also putting some of the tools that we've created in just kind of bringing Continuum to life. We're making that available for a lot of the folks in the blockchain ecosystem. If you have a blockchain brand and you're trying to connect to more blockchain users, give us a call so we can connect you. We're letting you guys piggyback on a lot of the tools that we have built if it helps acquire the metrics around mass adoption. If I can see it in the sentiment engine, it's a big deal. So a lot of this sentiment engine and this quant analytics engine, there's a ton of secret sauce, but what I can tell you is kind of a reiteration of what I've already covered, which is you've got your quant toolbox components, you've got your traditional capital markets, then layered on top of that is your 24/7 cryptocurrency ecosystem that moves differently globally because of regulation. Then you have your market behavior of each of the coins. And then you have sentiment on top of all of that. That creates a really big sandwich to eat. It's a lot to digest, but we're trying to break that down in the dashboards here. It's a lot going on, but I've certainly understood. For example, I understand when Rhonda sends the note up, the flag, that she goes Polkadot. I know why, because on a sentiment level, she knows that that is essentially a competitor to Ethereum, and she hears the buzzwords. That's enough for her to go, should I invest in it? I don't know, Rhonda. Let's find out if it's right for you. Let's talk about your risk profile. All of that comes down into the bigger ecosystem of these data dashboards. But basically, we're here to, we're in the middle of our raise. We have an affluence network that I haven't even presented this raise to yet. You guys are seeing it before my affluence network is. And we're going to be presenting this in front of the affluence network on the 24th. We are also allowing other brands to present deals. Anything that is buy, sell, raise, or invest is part of our ecosystem. If it's a deal over $100,000. So if you have tax services, if you have any of those things that affect Affluence Network, we have services there. If you're not in the Affluence Network yet, we have education to help get you there. But basically, our Continuum ask is we're raising a max of 1.25 rather. Most of our efforts right now are actually going with the partners and doing discount prices on the seats and making sure that that market adoption is really there. The other things that we're doing with the events, it makes our balance books look good, but it's kind of more of what the ecosystem needs right now. But it's really fun to just meet with everybody and have this face-to-face again and feel like we're actually connecting. So a little bit around our project timeline. We're busy. We've got a lot going on. The development is going to be going all year long. The user testing is really starting this summer. We're going to be doing a ton of announcements, partnership announcements. You guys are going to be seeing the Continuum logo all over the place. Think of me, just wave to me every time you guys see it, because we've got a lot going on, and it's not just us. It's a funnel for the entire blockchain ecosystem of what it means to be in blockchain, what these brands are, what they're doing, what it means to everyone's life. Oh, and by the way, we're building data dashboards that are going to change everything too. Other than that, I don't sleep much anymore. But our roadmap is pretty big here. This is a lot of focus on the data science team and making sure that we're creating kind of the marketplace for API solutions and script solutions and these things that are needed by bigger brands. I don't know if I can drop their names, but I hope I can drop them soon. There's I can't say anything. I'll give it away. But anyway, the point to get to all of this, we're looking at either a merger and acquisition. If we do a coin, it will be a security token offering for many data point reasons. I can tell you guys why on legislation we would do that. But more importantly, you guys are seeing a lot of these blockchain brands that have acquired large user databases. They're going straight to IPO. And I think that that's kind of the natural evolution, the Darwinian evolution that we're kind of seeing in this new hybrid of traditional plus crypto or traditional plus blockchain, which, as Brian mentioned, those are two very different things for many reasons. But all crypto is blockchain, not all blockchain is crypto, is the easiest way to think about that. Here's our deep asset insights. This is some of the stuff from our data science team and the stuff you can kind of reach in and touch and will become available. What you guys can't see on this blue and green one is this is kind of the computer vision part of it. Those blue and green pieces are correlations that when you're seeing it move in real time, you can actually see patterns develop and you can see anomalies develop. And it's so freaking cool to have it like jump off the screen at you. And I get way too excited about it, but it's really, really cool. And I'm excited to see you guys see it as well. We're going to be doing some hackathons and some community outreach and some testing. We've got some other partners that have some tools that are available right now in our virtual reality ecosystem for playing with. And then these will be debuted there through the partnership. So you guys will start to get familiar with the ecosystem, but it's a lot like trying to boil the ocean. Data is a vast sea of data points that all have relationships with each other. And so very much how cell biology works. When you zoom really small, you can start to see where these structures are. And then when you zoom really big, you can start to see the overall shape that it takes up in like, length, width, dynamics. This is a little bit of the heat map that we do. These are correlation matrices that take a ton of data points. And again, we break it down by color so that you can know what you're looking for. Because as a trader, it changes minute by minute. Sometimes you are like, hey, I need to be able to get out. I need this. I'm looking for what's going to give me the best long. Okay, that's platinum today. It doesn't matter. You're looking for the data points. You're looking for the places to deploy. It's a lot like playing chess. And so you need like really good research tools that are up to date minute to minute. So that's kind of what we've built here. This is an example of our Bitcoin correlation from last August. We've been doing this for a while. But basically this is, we looked at China GDP and the global commodities, and essentially, especially during COVID, we weren't seeing the ricochet effects of the delay in supply chains like we know should be there, but we're not seeing them yet. And so we feel like that tells us we're in a house of cards Jenga situation, where we're just kicking the can down the road and we're eventually going to have it caught up with us. So not to scare everyone, but that's a little bit of our data dashboards. A little bit of what we do at Continuum Market. We are really just trying to provide the connectivity and the transparency so that all users can understand why we get so excited about our Quandex data dashboards. Thanks.
And what I really love about this, Kristina, is that you can almost start to create some order out of chaos and some new fundamentals for investing, up and down the private and public equity sectors, which have been destroyed by the space, basically. There are no fundamentals, right? So how is this actually going to translate?
That is the big question. We're going to start at the top. We're going to start with the big institutions and say, we see this. Do you guys want to play with the data as well? When they start to have the tools they need to make the moves they need to be able to forecast it, and especially back testing, it's a huge piece that's missing. That the quants in traditional capital markets are so used to. They're baffled that we're over in 1975 here in crypto and we don't have it yet. So basically having those fundamentals so that everyone's speaking the same language is the first step to that. The second step is literally they're going to see what we see, where when you start to tie these out to correlations and you have market regimes that basically trend for a while and then they might inverse or flip, that you're kind of anticipating on the sentiment waves. When you have that data at your fingertips, you can make those hypotheses and you can decide if you want to put 10% of risk exposure to something like that, which is what we did. And I will be sharing the results. It's more than 10x. We did good. So this works, and I want to bring it to everyone, basically.